Taiwan's legislature votes on controversial changes to the nation's highest court. TSMC's fourth quarter revenue beats market expectations. Wildfires continue to engulf communities across Los Angeles. Plus, declining tourism numbers are forcing businesses in southern Taiwan's Kending to shut their doors. Welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yvonne Young. Taiwan's legislature has voted for a second time to change rules for the country's highest court. The move has caused major controversy, with some lawmakers fearing it could bring the legal system to a standstill. For more on this story, we go live to Chris Gorin in Taipei. So Chris, what does this result mean for the court?
Well, theoretically, Yvonne, this is the penultimate step for these amendments to be officially adopted. And if adopted, Taiwan's constitutional court, its highest court, would need more justices to make a ruling. Now, the 15-member court currently only has 8 sitting justices, and if these rules pass, they would need at least 9. Now, this is controversial because Taiwan has divided government. Its executive branch is controlled by the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, and the legislative branch is controlled by opposition parties from the Kuomintang and the Taiwan People's Party. And that means that appointing any new justices could be a very slow process, and it would effectively freeze the court's ability to act. Now, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, they say this is exactly what the opposition wants, to gum up the system and freeze a court that the opposition feels that is biased against them. But the opposition parties that support these changes, they say that this is just part of their constitutional duty to fill seats in the court and restore people's faith in the justice system.
司法的公信力持续探底，人民希望借由司法找回公平正义的道路越来越遥远。这正是为什么台湾民众党党团我们在立法院里面过去这段时间，我相信大家都可以很清楚的看到，我们一直努力在做的，就是在帮民进党兑现他们跳票的承诺。
So you can see that this is a highly charged issue. And in recent weeks, we've seen fights in the legislature and large protests, both of which are tied to the passage of these amendments. Now, with this second vote passed, the president must promulgate the law. And even if he doesn't, the law will actually take effect automatically under Taiwan's constitutional system, although there is already some debate beginning about whether there may be some exceptions to that rule. Yvonne?
Thank you, Chris. That was Chris Goring reporting from Taipei. And to learn more about the Constitutional Court amendments, Alec McDonald spoke to Jian Zhilin, constitutional law professor at Academia Sinica.
I want to start off by asking, are the proposed changes by the Kuomintang actually aiming for reform, or are these part of political gamesmanship that they're using in this split legislature right now?
I think it's more political than, reform, a judicial reform or something, because the current Constitutional Court Procedure Act was effective in 2022. To me, I could be biased, but to me, I think the legislative intent of the new Constitutional Court Procedure Act, the amendment, obviously intend to paralyze the court because of the frustration of the previous one of the previous decisions the court has made to frustrate the legislative effort to expand their own power. So I guess the legislators were really unhappy about that decision, which is why they want to paralyze the court by this way. So it's not really about judicial reform or something, it's simply a political game.
What could we see as the next stage if these amendments pass?
Well, there are many arguments so far because it's really complicated. If the bill is passed today, again, Then the next step will be the President Lai. And there are some arguments that said President Lai has the power not to promulgate a law if he finds it unconstitutional. But this is not my opinion. I think we do not need to give the president the power to decide unilaterally whether a law should be constitutional or not. And then the next step would be like something like, it could be that some persons would challenge the constitutionality of the law in the Constitutional Court. And then the battlefield will move to the Constitutional Court and to move to the justice themselves.
So moving forward, will the Constitutional Court then become the main battlefield for politics over the next 3 years, as we are only 1 year into this split legislature?
I think the Constitutional Court will become a battlefield in two senses. First, there are multiple ways. Well, this is common in every jurisdiction. There are multiple ways for the legislature to attack or at least contain a court they dislike. So even if this bill is declared unconstitutional and invalid, I believe that the legislature still has many ways to constrain the court. And this is actually not the first time Taiwan's legislature attacked the Taiwan's Constitutional Court. It has happened like at least 2 or 3 times in the past. I think if the Constitutional Court remain functioning, then you can imagine that the President Lai or his executive branch would continue to challenge the constitutionality of any statute passed by the legislature that they dislike. So you can see that there will be many constitutional cases being petitioned to the Constitutional Court asking the justice, 8 or 15 or whatever between it, asking the Constitutional Court justice to adjudicate the constitutionality of those controversial bills or those controversial statutes.
That was Jian Zhilin from Academia Sinica. TSMC has comfortably beaten market forecasts for its fourth quarter revenue. The chip giant posted just over $26 billion in revenue from October through December. It comes days after the company's stock price hit a record high of $35 a share on Taiwan's benchmark index, the TAIEX. A key supplier for NVIDIA and Apple, TSMC's strong performance is attributed to surging demand for AI. Taiwan has accepted delivery of a new Coast Guard ship. The 600-ton offshore patrol vessel is capable of being fitted with missiles in wartime. It has large decks and advanced equipment for maritime rescue, inspections, and defense. The Coast Guard also launched 2 new patrol ships at a ceremony in southern Taiwan. Premier Zhuo Rongtai oversaw the launch in Kaohsiung, saying the ships will boost Taiwan's defensive capabilities.
将来也能够跟着这艘新舰上面的海巡大哥哥们一样，能够学习他们，能够守护海洋的自由，守护国家的安全。
Taiwan has spent nearly $1.2 billion on 141 maritime patrol ships since 2018. Former presidential candidate and founder of the Taiwan People's Party, Ke Wen-je, has filed a formal appeal against his detention on charges of corruption. The Taipei District Court ruled last week to detain Ke and several others involved in the case after originally granting bail. The court said there was a significant chance that Ke may try to leave the country or tamper with evidence. But in its appeal filing, Ke's legal team said he was unlikely to flee Taiwan. It stressed his strong connections to the country and the significant bail sum of over $2 million Ke posted before being detained. Taiwan has set a record $28 billion for its national health insurance budget this year. The 5.5% increase from 2024 comes as Taiwan is expected to become a super-aged society where over 20% of the population is aged 65 or older. But the Health Insurance Administration says the expanded budget will not affect premiums. Firefighters in Southern California are struggling to contain the massive fires engulfing communities in and around the city of Los Angeles. As Chris Gorin reports, several neighborhoods have already been completely destroyed.
As the smoke clears in the Pacific Palisades community in Los Angeles, the extent of the damage is emerging. Whole neighborhoods reduced to ash. At least 10 people have been killed, and 200,000 ordered to evacuate. Aerial footage from local news shows people scrambling to leave their homes.
Look at all the palm trees in this neighborhood. Look at all of the landscaping. Look at people already trying to get in their cars and getting out of Dodge. It is time to get your essentials and get out now. Grab your pets. Get out now.
And the fires, spurred on by wind speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, show no signs of stopping. The two largest fires in the region are still burning out of control. As of Thursday local time, the largest fire, known as the Palisades Fire, was only 6% contained. The second largest, known as the Eaton Fire, near the city of Pasadena, was 0% contained. While the total number of buildings destroyed is still unknown, officials say that in the Eaton Fire alone, it's in the thousands.
We now have a confirmation that we have a potential for over 4,000 to 5,000 structures damaged or destroyed.
Some people have returned to their burned-down homes to see if any of their possessions remain. Many have likened the scenes to that of a war zone. That includes people who have experienced battlefields.
Like 2-3 days ago, it was beautiful, it was nice, but today it's something, all smoky, it's all burned out, and you could see all the burned cars, and you see like there's no houses and stuff like that. It reminds me back to like Afghanistan.
As people to continue to evacuate their homes, U.S. President Joe Biden and California Governor Gavin Newsom have committed to give all available resources to combat the fires. But with firefighters struggling to contain the flames, many are asking the same question. When will it stop? Klein Wong and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President-elect Donald Trump's bid to halt sentencing for his New York hush money conviction. Trump is expected to face a felony sentencing just days before returning to office. He was found guilty of falsifying 2016 business records by disguising reimbursements for hush money payments to an adult film actor as legal expenses. The judge overseeing the case has said it's unlikely Trump will face jail time. Chinese President Xi Jinping will send a high-level envoy in his place to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration, according to the Financial Times. Trump last month invited Xi to attend his swearing-in on January 20th. The paper cited sources saying China could be sending their Foreign Minister Wang Yi or Vice President Han Zheng. They're expected to hold talks with Trump's team. Myanmar has been mired in conflict since a 2021 military coup and resulting armed uprising. Until recently, Myanmar's military junta was suffering major losses at the hands of pro-democracy insurgents. But now, as the junta obtains new technology, the war's landscape has changed. Sonia Schlesinger has more.
Almost 4 years into a bloody civil war, the technology that once helped Myanmar's pro-democracy rebels wage their campaign has been turned against them. Drones were key to insurgents' success in a 2023 military offensive. And in 2024, rebels used drones to attack the junta government in the capital, Naypyidaw. But since then, the country's military has obtained drones of their own. The military drone capacities far exceed those of the rebels, who repurposed smuggled civilian drones designed for agricultural or even filming purposes. Initial reports say there is evidence to suggest that new, more powerful drones have been provided to the military by Beijing, a key junta ally. Insurgency fighters say there's nothing they can do except run and hide. Meanwhile, the military's recent success has brought fighting to towns like Mo Bay, where displaced families had recently moved to a makeshift encampment. Many have been displaced multiple times in recent years. Now, they're grappling with what it means to move yet again, and with how their lives have changed since the coup began in 2021. As drones change the face of a conflict where millions have been displaced, these families are attempting to start over. Whether they can stay put this time will depend on forces and technologies far beyond the borders of Mo Bay. Alex Chen and Sonia Schlesinger for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up after the break, volunteers rolled up their sleeves to help save Taiwan's toads and frogs. Stay tuned to find out how.
There's so many things that I wish the world could see.
It is amazing to watch this captain maneuver this giant ship.
It takes 3 days to cook this. The flavor is unbelievable, incredible.
And it's my turn to make something inspired by Chef Gore. It's going to be quite a challenge.
Can you imagine that?
It's surreal, yes, so real.
I can't give up. I got some ass kicking to do. Nice move.
We're pushing each other to explore and experiment in new, different ways.
5, 4, 3, 2.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
Not just to Taiwan, the whole world is watching.
We might encounter mishaps and mistakes along the way. But at the end of the day,
it just transmits something straight from the heart. Yes.
Cheers.
Bon appetit. It is about the fun and it's about the glamour and it's also about something much deeper than that.
Sometimes you just gotta seize the opportunity. You just gotta do it.
Have a place where you're appreciated for you exactly as you are and where you can shine and be seen.
Thanks for watching TaiwanPlus. For more stories from the Pacific Island nation of Tuvalu and around the world, follow TaiwanPlus on social media.
We bring you stories from Taiwan.
Every day of the week.
Our reporters travel the nation.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
News from here in Taiwan and around the world.
What's up, Taiwan? On TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. The popular tourist destination of Kending is experiencing a drop in visitors, leading to the closure of several hotels and shops. Chelsea Wu has the story.
This street in southern Taiwan, once a lively tourist hotspot, now stands deserted. Kending, a beach resort in Pingtung County, has long been one of Taiwan's top travel destinations, but it's facing a sharp decline in visitors. Since the country lifted its COVID restrictions in 2022, more Taiwanese have opted for overseas trips, leaving these shops to grapple with fewer customers.
现在都外国客啊，我这摩托车他们又没有国际驾照的啦，已经2-3天没有开市了。
3 of the area's hotels are now shutting their doors. At least one say it's closing for renovations. But those in the tourism sector are increasingly feeling the strain of sustaining their businesses. More than 8 million travelers visited Kending in 2014. During the pandemic in 2021, that figure fell more than 70% to just a little over 2 million. Last year saw only a slight increase, with 2.14 million visitors. Some say the government should take responsibility for the losses incurred by Kending's businesses.
如果办个活动，是不是对我们大家都好？你看现在都办在市区啊，那我们这边不能办个演唱会，或是办个那个吗？让我们这边的经济能够起来吗？
In response, officials are finding ways to revive the domestic market in Kending, such as highlighting the area's national park.
垦丁管理处这一边，那去做一个合作，那希望促请国家公园这一边的一个设施及管理可以做一个明显的一个提升。
While challenges remain, local businesses and officials hope that by revitalizing Kending and enhancing its appeal, the area can once again reclaim its status as a beloved destination for both domestic and international travelers. John Su and Chelsea Wu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's toads and frogs are in a tough spot as invasive species outcompete them on their home turf. But an army of volunteers guided by wildlife experts is helping push back. John Van Trieste reports.
It's a miserable wet night in the mountains of Taichung, but a team of volunteers equipped with rain gear, headlamps, and nets is walking the soggy hillside trails with purpose. It doesn't take long for them to find their targets, cane toads. These plump frog-like creatures, native to Latin America, were brought into Taiwan through the pet trade. Now, as in other places, they've established themselves in the wild as a stubborn nuisance. They eat valuable insects, pose a risk to dogs and cats with their poison glands, and both outcompete and prey on Taiwan's native amphibians. At first, these strange new creatures were a mystery to people like team leader Zheng Limian, who first came across them in a vegetable plot in 2021. But it was soon clear these were unlike anything from her home in central Taiwan.
那个时候你发现是觉得说是没有看过这个东西的，老考过。
是我是先问阮学校的老师，我问伊啊，伊再我问2次的。
所以就发现说这个问题是要赶快来解决这样。
She's since been a part of a corps of volunteers trying to find a solution to the pests. Near Zheng's hometown of Caotun alone, they've caught over 30,000 cane toads with nets and bags like these. The toads are sent on to the Agriculture Ministry's Taiwan Biodiversity Research Institute for cataloging. The toads are then placed into a cold environment where they enter a hibernation state and are then frozen, never to wake again. Researchers say this is a humane way to deal with a pressing ecological problem. The institute is also working on traps that can supplement the labor-intensive process of catching toads with nets. No country where cane toads have been introduced and become a problem has managed to eradicate them. But researchers like Lin Chunfu say making Taiwan the first is a worthy goal.
鸣声是吸引海蟾蜍的一个重要的信号那我们用录音带播放，所以用鸣声当作一个陷阱来捕抓，是我们最近常用的方式。
Cane toads aren't the only invasive amphibian Taiwan is struggling to contain. Since 2006, the spot-legged tree frog, native to China and Southeast Asia, has been rapidly outcompeting local frog species and pushing them from their habitats. Since 2011, Yang Yiru, associate professor at National Donghua University, has helped lead the pushback against them. These invasive frogs produce enormous numbers of eggs, in clumps of up to 1,000 at a time, and they can reproduce 5 times a year. This is why Professor Yang's approach relies on stopping their growth from the tadpole stage.
那我们现在把它放了一些苦茶粉，是一种有机的资材。
Camellia seed powder kills them directly without harming the environment. And in hard-to-reach breeding grounds, like in among thickets, a solution with 16% citric acid will do the trick too. Another important part of her approach is bringing the whole family into the process of catching mature frogs, so that even the youngest children learn about the importance of protecting Taiwan's ecology as she did during her childhood.
我小时候在乡下到处都是蛙，可是我刚刚说在20-30年前就发觉了台湾的蛙类的族群就下降了，就开始进行了一些保育。然后我觉得一个人做也来不及哈，如果每个人都可以保护住家附近的蛙类，那我们台湾全部的蛙类其实就可以被保护下来了。我们来看一下，抓到几只？来算一下公的母的这样。
Though the speed at which the frogs breed makes catching them all or reversing their damage difficult, teams like this hope to at least make a dent, preventing a complete takeover of Taiwan's ecosystems and leaving a space in them for the local species that have long called the island home. Luffy Lee and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
People across Taiwan are advised to dress warmly as a cold snap chills the main island and brings snow across its central mountain range. A cold air mass has dropped temperatures to below 0 Celsius in Taiwan's highest mountains, turning the subtropical peaks white. The country's weather agency has issued extreme temperature alerts spanning from the north to the south, including Taipei and New Taipei. Experts say the mercury will continue to drop throughout the weekend and are warning people to be prepared. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally, check out some of the latest technologies showcased at this year's CES in Las Vegas. I'm Yvonne. Take care, and I'll see you next time.